I'm just amazed. Democrats come in and they're like, now that Trump's in office, they're like, oh, they're going to cut Social Security and Medicaid and Medicare and welfare and Section 8, all these kind of government programs. And I've been like, the cuts that I'm worried about are the cuts to people with disabilities because I have disabilities. Call me selfish, but it just happens to be what I know the best. So that's what I talk about. They've been cutting those things forever. This isn't anything new. Whenever a congressman says they're going to cut your taxes, and they do, they cut it from services to people with disabilities. That's where they cut. This is an ongoing process of eliminating services to people with disabilities that has been going on forever. It's nothing new. People with with learning disabilities and 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 those kind of things have been cut forever. Like special ed as a kid, um, programs for work, all kinds of programs that help people with disabilities have been cut forever. Mental illness, these kind of programs have been getting cut forever. And it's easy to know why. It's not because they don't care. It's because it's the easiest thing to cut. Uh, let me explain. People will notice if suddenly the main services everybody uses get cut. If the perks suddenly go in disarray, people will suddenly notice. They'll be like, "What the hell's going on with the perks? Why are the police services being cut?" You know, they cut things when they cut your taxes. They cut on the things that nobody really cares about and nobody really notices and nobody really speaks up because, well, I'm sorry to say, nobody really cares enough to worry about the learning disabled, the physically disabled, and the mentally ill. They just don't. So when the services get cut, they really nothing happens. There's not really very many people to stand up and go, hey, the only difference today is they're out in the open about it. They're literally saying, we're going to cut Social Security, we're going to cut Medicaid, we're going to cut Medicare. And it's not because they don't care. It's because, you know, our government works for the rich people, and rich people don't really care about these programs because they don't need them. Most of you don't care because, well, most of you don't really need them either. So, just like, why should I have to pay for Social Security for people with disabilities? I don't have a disability. Well, this way of cutting things affects you too. Nobody really cared about maintaining the bridges in our country. Nobody really gave a shit because nobody was really looking at maintaining infrastructure. So now when you drive across a bridge, you're taking your life into your hands, whether that bridge is going to fall down. Many of the bridges in our country are just absolutely rusting out. And nobody's really done anything because it, there hasn't been enough bridges collapsing and killing a bunch of people for you guys to notice. So nobody's complained. It's going to happen. People are going to start, wait a second. That's what happens when cut. They cut them taxes down. And all you guys are happy when you get a little teeny cut in your taxes, but The people that are really happy are the rich people that are getting massive cuts in their taxes. It's there's only a certain amount you can cut before it's gone. And there isn't a lot of services out there for people with mental illnesses and learning disabilities and such anymore. They're just it's just so underfunded. I'm in a program right now that I'm supposed to be in a program right now that is supposed to help get people into jobs. You'd think that would be a good idea, right? It saves money. It gets people like me with learning disabilities out into a job so Social Security doesn't have to pay for it anymore. Well, there you go. And these cuts don't even make any sense because that would literally save the money. But you know what? They cut there too. That program barely exists in my area anymore. So I can't even get help to get a job if I needed to. How this is going to affect you? There's only a certain amount that they can cut with these programs, and they don't really exist very much anymore. And when they're done cutting our programs, they're coming for yours. And you might go, I don't really use the government very much. I don't, your public parks and the things that make your cities pretty, rich people don't need that shit. They don't live in your, they don't live in your, whether they take care of your roads, there could be potholes like crazy in your streets. They don't care. Your schools, they're coming after that. Look at Project 2025. They're coming after your public schools because that's just another one of those things. This cycle, they're out in the open. They're literally saying we're going to cut all this stuff, and they're making up reasons why it's good. Damn schools, they're teaching that liberal stuff like transgenderism. They don't care about the transgenderism. No rich person is sitting around like, oh my God, the poor transgenders, those fucking transgenders, right? They're not good. They're not worrying about it. You're worrying about it because they talked you into it. It's just an excuse to cut a little bit more. And you're dumb enough to fucking believe it. Or at least they are. They'll come after your schools. You know what? Only thing that they don't come after is the military. And everybody goes, why don't they cut the military? This is my crazy belief. The one thing rich people are, they're fucking scared. Why do you think they have the big, massive walls around their complexes? They don't want to be in poor neighborhoods. They hate the poor. They hate the middle class. Fucking disgusting people for them. They're disgusted in you middle class people. They hate you. But they're scared that you might take their shit. They're scared that the world may come for them. And the military is nothing more than a big security blanket to them. That's just a big safety security blanket wrapped up in the United States with their big military, protected from the crazy world out there. And they look out and they just see these third world nations and all these people, these immigrants coming in. They don't care about them taking your jobs. They don't care. As long as they're not in their part of the world, they don't really care. But them dealing with them having to pay taxes, that's when they care. Most rich people, like, they benefit from it. They weren't complaining when their big, massive farms they own make tons of money on the backs of immigrants. They don't care about that. But they care when they have to actually interact, when they have to pay taxes. Like California, right? California has given Medicaid to immigrant families. And it makes sense if you think about it. Republicans don't get it. These people get sick and they go into the hospitals and they get treatment. And a lot of times they get treatment way beyond the point where they should be getting treatment. So it's way more expensive to treat these people. And it costs the hospitals millions and millions and millions of dollars a year to take care of these immigrant people, which is never recouped. So a lot of them are in bankruptcy. And the governor of California is like, nah, we're just going to pay for it so our freaking hospitals aren't overflowing. And then they can go to, regular doctors where it costs a lot cheaper to treat these people. Republicans don't like that either. It's not because they hate that people are getting treatment. It's like, how dare you force us to have to pay for this? See, they don't even care that it is bankrupting California. Fuck California. They just care that tax bill for them is cheaper, and they're not behind the big walls around their house. I could go on and on and on for this. I don't know where did I start? I started at the I started I started with the disability thing, and like this is how it's going to affect you guys, right? All these cuts to things that actually matter to you guys. That's where it's going to matter to you. It's not going to matter anywhere else. And they're almost out. They're like this president and Agenda 2025. They laid it out. They want they don't want to make little cuts anymore. They want to make big cuts to their taxes, which means they're going to have to make big cuts to what the money is spent on. This whole thing with Elon Musk isn't to lower our government's debt. It's to get rich people tax breaks. Any idiot that thinks it's anything other, they're idiots. And they almost got us. They almost got they almost defunded every mental health facility and every freaking program for people with disabilities like myself. And they're coming for yours. You just wait. I don't think I'm going to go on very much more on this. I think you got the point. On to the next one.